If you rear-end me, you marry me. So I rear-ended my ex-girlfriend's mom. After Khloe Vance cheated on me, I was riding my e-bike through the city, my mind a million miles away. The next thing I knew, I'd slammed right into the back of a Porsche with a bumper sticker that read, "Divorced and single. You rear-end IT. You marry IT." A stunning woman stepped out of the driver's seat. Holy shit, it was Khloe's mom. After giving everything I had, 3 years of being a complete doormat, and still getting cheated on by Khloe, I had finally made peace with it. Sure, in the moment I'd been furious. For the first time ever, I'd actually cursed her out. "Khloe, go F yourself." But thinking about it now, that outburst just proved how pathetic I was, how much she'd gotten to me. I was done with love. I'd learned a hard lesson. A man can't rely on anyone but himself. The only way to earn respect, to earn real love, was to become powerful. And the first step to power is money. Without it, you're nothing. I was going to work my ass off. I was going to grind until I had enough capital to make women fall all over themselves for me. I wanted to know what it felt like to be the one they were desperate for. That's why I was heading to an interview at Aura Beauty. It was a major player in New York's cosmetic and aesthetic surgery market, and the position they were hiring for was a perfect match for my degree. And then, on the way, I had to go and crash my bike, straight into Khloe's mother. Her mom didn't know me. In the 3 years I was with Khloe, I'd never been to her house, and Khloe never talked about her family. The only thing I knew was that Khloe had her mom's last name, and that her mom's name was Kate Vance. I'd only ever seen her picture on Khloe's phone. I never thought the first time I'd meet her in person would be like this. I stood there, a wave of exhaustion washing over me. It was because of Khloe's betrayal that I'd been distracted, and that distraction led me to rear-end her mother. The whole miserable day revolved around her. God damn it. But what was with that bumper sticker? You rear-end it, you marry it? So, her mom was single. Ma'am. Miss, I'm so sorry. I didn't do it on purpose, I said, my face burning with apology. Under normal circumstances, I'd be calling her Mrs. Vance, but Khloe and I were over. Besides, Kate Vance looked incredibly young, with an elegance that made her and Khloe look more like sisters than mother and daughter. Calling her ma'am felt like it would be an insult, a sure way to piss her off. "It's okay, young man. Are you hurt?" Kate asked, her voice calm and cultured. "I'm fine. I was just distracted." "I'm really sorry," I said, scratching the back of my head. "Don't worry, whatever it costs to fix the car, I'll pay for it. Every cent." Kate glanced at my beat-up e-bike and offered a small smile. "It might be a lot. Repairs on this car are expensive. Don't you worry about that. I'll sell a kidney if I have to. I'll pay you back," I promised. Then, I switched to a pleading tone. "But, I have a really important job interview right now. Is there any way I could go to that first, and then I'll get in touch with you?" I rushed to reassure her. "My name is Leo Foster. You can take a picture of my driver's license. I promise. I'm not going to disappear on you." Kate thought for a moment, then nodded. "All right." She pulled a pen from her purse and scribbled a number on a slip of paper. "I don't need your license. If I'm letting you go, it means I trust you. This is my number. Call me after your interview." With that, she got back into her Porsche and sped away with a throaty roar. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Kate Vance was actually pretty cool. A whole lot better than Khloe. That's for sure. I hopped back on my e-bike and raced to the Aura Beauty headquarters, ditched the bike, and bolted for the elevators. My interview was in less than 10 minutes. Inside the elevator, just as I was about to press the button for my floor, a familiar figure walked in. Well, what do you know? It was Kate Vance. "So, you're the one interviewing at Aura," she said, looking just as surprised as I was. I nodded, thinking, so Khloe's mom works here. "This is the CEO's private elevator. How did you get in here?" Kate asked with a curious smile. "Oh, I didn't know. I was in a hurry to get to my interview. I didn't even look." My explanation trailed off as a horrifying thought hit me. CEO's private elevator? Then Khloe's mom was. Oh God, this was a nightmare. I just rear-ended the CEO, and now I was here in her building for a job interview. She was definitely going to hold it against me. "Ms. Vance, about today. I really am sorry." I started to apologize again. Kate saw the panic on my face and gave me a gentle smile. "It's all right. The accident is the accident, and the interview is the interview. Don't you worry." I finally relaxed. It seemed like her mom really was a decent person. A hell of a lot better than her damn daughter. The elevator started its ascent, and I snuck a glance at Kate. The woman showed no signs of aging. She was as immaculately preserved as a woman half her age. But beneath that youthful skin was a mature confidence that was unbelievably alluring. My mind started to wander. Suddenly, the lights in the elevator flickered once, twice, and then went out completely. A moment later, the car lurched and began to plummet. Ah! Kate let out a terrified scream. The next thing I knew, an arm was wrapped tightly around my waist. I didn't blame her. I had my arm wrapped just as tightly around her. It was pure instinct, a primal reaction to danger, like a drowning person grabbing onto anything they can find. But as a man, I didn't scream. The intense feeling of weightlessness made my head spin. We clung to each other as we crashed to the floor of the car. Thank God. The elevator finally shuddered to a stop, but we were still plunged in total darkness. I was lying on the floor with Kate on top of me, our arms still wrapped around each other. The air grew thick with a new kind of tension. The scent of her perfume was intoxicating, making my head swim in a different way. She was still terrified, her body trembling against mine, her full breasts pressing into my chest with every shiver. I tried to comfort her. Don't be scared. If we fall, I'll be your cushion at the bottom. That seemed to make her tremble even more. Then, a low moan escaped her lips. Ow! It hurts. What hurts? I asked immediately. My foot. I think I sprained my ankle. I gently helped her up, then slid out from under her and fumbled for the emergency call button. I pressed it several times, but there was no response. The power must have been completely out. Kate leaned against the elevator wall, her face slick with a cold sweat from the pain. We'll have to wait for rescue, I said. I switched on my phone's flashlight and aimed the beam at her. Here, let me take a look. What are you looking at? She asked, her voice laced with panic. Your ankle, I said, crouching down, to see if it's really dislocated. I started to gently touch the area. She looked at me doubtfully. You know how to do this? I managed a small smile. You could say it's a family thing. 3 generations of chiropractors. Setting a bone is second nature. After feeling around for a while, Kate frowned. I was still probing the area. Well, are you done feeling me up yet? I felt a flush of embarrassment. Brothers, I swear I'm not trying to cop a feel. I muttered to myself. It had just been a while, and my skills were a little rusty. Just another second. Don't move, I said, focusing. I applied a bit of pressure. Ow! Gentle. Pain was a good sign. It meant it was definitely dislocated. I lifted her foot. Okay. I'm going to do it now. It's going to hurt for a second. Just brace yourself. Before she could react, I gave a firm, practiced push with both hands. Crack. With a single, clean sound, her ankle was back in place. Ah, that hurt! She cried out, but her pained expression quickly turned to one of amazement. She rotated her ankle. It's really better. You actually know what you're doing. I just smiled. It still hurts a little, though. Why is that? That's normal. When a bone pops out and gets pushed back in, some of the capillaries get damaged. It's not a big deal. I took her foot in my hands again. Here, let me massage it for you. It'll stop hurting after. I started to gently massage the area, but as I worked, I noticed something was wrong. Her face was turning crimson, and her breathing was becoming shallow and quick. Oh God, I honestly had no idea. How was I supposed to know her ankle was an erogenous zone? When the maintenance crew finally pried the elevator doors open, the flush on Kate's face hadn't completely faded. She stood up, gave the crew a cold lecture, then shot me a complicated look before turning and walking towards another elevator. I was about to take the stairs when I saw her hold the doors of her elevator open with her hands. Aren't you coming? I blinked, then hurried over. Thanks, Ms. Vance. She turned her face away, giving a silent nod. What had happened in the dark had clearly left her flustered. The elevator stopped at my floor first. I said my goodbyes and stepped out. Her voice called out from behind me. Thanks for what you did back there. And by the way, you have a very nice touch. I turned back just in time to see the doors slide shut. She was smiling, her head bowed as if lost in thought. When I got to the interview waiting area, I ran into the last person on earth I wanted to see, Khloe. And right next to her was her new boyfriend, the guy who had cuckolded me, Mark Peterson. I was still wondering what this train wreck of a couple was doing here when Khloe walked over to me. Her face was a mask of disgust. Leo, did you seriously follow me here? I told you we are over. This obsessive stalking is pathetic. Mark looked me up and down with pure contempt. Once a simp, always a simp. No backbone. I looked at Khloe and forced a cold smile. Don't flatter yourself. I'm here for an interview. Running into you is just my bad luck for the day. Khloe looked genuinely surprised. You're here for an interview? What else? Suddenly, she burst out laughing. Do you have any idea that Aura is only hiring one person for this position? Do you really think you can compete with Mark? It clicked. So this asshole was here for the same job. A competitive fire ignited in me. And what makes you think he's any competition for me? I sneered. Khloe's face hardened. You watch your mouth. Mark is better than you in every way. I hid my anger behind a grin. How would you know? You never gave me a test drive, so you have no idea what I'm capable of. Her face turned red with fury. You pig. A test drive with you? You wish. You were always just my backup plan. A toad trying to get with a swan. I let out a bitter laugh. She was right. 3 years of devotion and I was still the backup. I deserved this. A doormat never wins. Khloe composed herself and walked back to Mark. After a few steps, she turned back with a smirk. Leo, I'm telling you right now, you are not getting this job. She looked at me, her eyes brimming with absolute confidence. Of all the people in the world who might get this position, it will never be you. Khloe Vance, guarantee it. Seeing her smug expression, I understood. Her mother was the CEO of Aura Beauty. Of course she was confident. The thought that I'd been with her for 3 years and never even knew about her family made me feel like the biggest fool in the world. The tragedy of a simp. The interviews began. Khloe went in first with Mark. I waited outside for what felt like an eternity before they came out, laughing and chatting together. The hiring manager followed them, bowing and scraping with a sycophantic grin plastered on his face. Khloe shot me a triumphant look. Leo, it's your turn to go in. Mark smirked at me. What's the point? The guy's just wasting everyone's time. He's completely out of his league. He then slung an arm around Khloe, giving me a defiant glare that screamed, I took your girl, and now I'm taking your job. How does that feel? I knew with Khloe here this interview was rigged. I was 100% going to be rejected. If I didn't go in, they'd call me a coward. If I went in and got rejected, they'd mock me for not knowing my place. As I stood there, paralyzed with indecision, the hiring manager snapped impatiently. Hey, Leo, what's his name, are you interviewing or not? If not, get lost and stop wasting my time. Just as I was about to answer, a sharp voice cut through the air. I think you're the one who should get lost. And with that, Kate Vance appeared in front of me. Leo, you don't need to interview. Welcome to Aura Beauty. Ms. Vance. I'm so sorry, so sorry. The hiring manager stammered, bowing repeatedly. He shot me a confused look, probably wondering if I was some secret plant of Kate's, sent to test him. Mom, how could you do this? Khloe whined, dropping the act and running over to Kate. I already promised Mark he would get this job. She shot me a smug glance, as if to say, yeah. Leo, that's right. The CEO of Aura Beauty is my mother. Surprised. Khloe, don't be ridiculous, Kate said, her brow furrowed. This is a corporate recruitment. You can't just go around making promises to people. Khloe froze, then retorted. But Mark is exceptionally qualified. He's a Harvard grad, just back from overseas. Even if you went by the book, Leo would stand no chance against him. Kate didn't even spare Mark a glance. Instead, she stated flatly, we're not going by the book for this position. I've already promised it to Leo. The job is his. Khloe was dumbfounded. Who was it that just said you can't go around making promises to people? Mom, that's a complete double standard. I don't accept it. Khloe protested. Kate's voice was firm. My decision is the company's decision. If you don't accept it, you can keep it to yourself. She then gave Mark a cold look and said to Khloe, anyone who needs to pull strings to get into this company is not reliable. Mom's advice to you, sweetie, is to be smarter about the friends you keep. Khloe looked like she was about to explode. Who was the one pulling strings here? Leo didn't even have to interview and he was hired on the spot, and she had the nerve to say that about Mark? The hypocrisy was staggering. Mom, Mark is way more reliable than Leo. Mom, did you know this guy is my ex-boyfriend? He has no skills whatsoever. At this, Kate's eyebrows shot up. Ex-boyfriend? That's right, Khloe said with a sneer. I already dumped him. Kate actually seemed to let out a sigh of relief. Dumped him? Dumped him. Good. That makes things much simpler. With that, She turned and walked away, leaving a stunned Khloe standing there, utterly bewildered. What the hell did she mean? That makes things simpler. I had successfully joined Aura Beauty, and I was ecstatic, not just because I'd landed a high-paying job, but because Khloe and Mark looked like they wanted to kill me. It was a small, sweet taste of revenge, but I knew I owed it all to Kate. I was still curious, though. What was she thinking? Why did she hire me on the spot like that? Was she afraid I wouldn't have the money to pay for her car repairs? No, that couldn't be it. While I was still puzzling over it, the head of HR came over. He was all smiles, practically fawning over me. Leo, there's been a change to your position. The role you applied for, you won't be needed there for now. Oh? So what will I be doing? Ms. Vance has personally requested you. She needs a new assistant, and she asked for you by name. Oh, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. An assistant? I had zero experience. Why on earth would Kate trust me with that? And so, on my first official day, my career as an assistant began. Ah, Leo, a little harder. From the CEO's office came Kate's moans of pleasure. I massaged Kate's feet, a dark cloud over my head. So this was being an assistant? I'd been worried I wouldn't be up to the task. Who would have thought that my one and only duty was to give Kate massages? I hadn't touched a single piece of actual assistant work. Other people handled all of that. She was especially fond of having me massage her ankles. Every time, she would end up red-faced and sweating, moaning with a pleasure that made me wonder if my technique was really that good. Once, I questioned her about it. Did you really hire me just for this? She had just smiled dreamily. Being a CEO is exhausting. Your job is to help me de-stress. She even told me to be prepared to join her on business trips. And, oh right, I might have to work overtime at her villa after hours. I couldn't take it anymore. Finally, one day, as Kate was lost in a state of bliss, I snapped. Ms. Vance, I quit. I put her foot down and stood up. She looked up, her expression one of unfinished pleasure and surprise. What is it? Is the salary not high enough? If that's the issue, I can give you a raise. No, I cut her off. The salary is too high. I don't feel right taking this money. I'm just giving you massages, but I'm earning this much? What will my colleagues think? Lately, rumors had been swirling around the office. They said the CEO's groans of pleasure were all my doing. They were calling me her kept man, her boy toy. Kate looked completely unconcerned, leaning back in her CEO chair. If anyone has a problem with it, they can quit. She then gave me an encouraging look. You need to have more confidence. With skills as good as yours, you deserve this salary. Ms. Vance, I'm confident in my massage skills. But if you just wanted a masseuse, you could find plenty of them out there. Why me? I'm a young man with dreams and ambitions. I can't just massage your feet for the rest of my life. Kate smiled faintly. No one else makes me feel as good as you do. You know just where my sweet spots are, and your rhythm and pressure are a perfect match for me. Besides, what's wrong with massaging my feet for a lifetime? I can pay you a lifetime salary. I was at a loss for words. I had to just say what I'd been too embarrassed to admit. Ms. Vance, I'm a young guy with a healthy libido. You have me rubbing your feet while you're wearing these silk stockings, moaning and groaning. You're not considering how I feel at all. If this keeps up, I think things could get dangerous. Kate's face turned red. What's so dangerous about it? I dropped all pretense. It's one thing in the office, but if we're at your villa, I'm genuinely afraid I'll make a mistake. Kate's face grew even redder. If you want to make a mistake, then make one. It's not like I said you couldn't. What? I just stood there, completely stunned. In the end, we reached a compromise. I agreed not to quit and to stay on as her assistant. In return, she promised to let me handle some actual assistant duties. But helping her de-stress with massages remained my #1 priority. Everything else was secondary. If I had time, I'd do it. If not, someone else would. And so, my pleasant work life resumed. But it wasn't long before I started feeling that something was off again. I realized Kate seemed to be deliberately hitting on me. One day, after a massage session, she leaned in close and asked, Leo, what do you usually do after work? Where do you hang out? I didn't think much of it at the time. I go to this place on the Lower East Side. I like to grab a beer and listen to the street musicians. The neighborhood was famous in New York for its cluster of cheap dive bars. Of course, a successful woman like Kate wouldn't know about it. The regulars there were from a completely different world than hers. Oh, she said, a thoughtful look on her face. Later that evening, I went to the bar as usual. The moment I walked in, I saw Kate waving at me from a table. What a coincidence. What are you doing here? She asked with a bright smile. A muscle in my jaw twitched. Yeah, right. A coincidence. I tell you I come here every day. And then you show up asking me what I'm doing here. Anyway, she had a great time that night, getting completely hammered. By the end of it, she was swaying on her feet. In the end, I had to carry her home. The entire way, her warm breath was on my ear, and her breasts bounced against my back, driving me crazy. When we finally got to her villa, she collapsed onto the sofa, her eyes closed, and grabbed my hand. Don't go. Give me a massage, she murmured, a sly smile playing on her lips. My heart skipped a beat. She wasn't drunk at all. She faked the whole thing just to get me to carry her home. The next day, in her office, Kate laid her cards on the table. She told me she liked me and wanted me to consider being with her. I was thunderstruck. I looked at the woman who could have been my mother-in-law, a storm of emotions swirling inside me. She was beautiful, yes, even more captivating than most younger women, but she was too rich. If we got together, the power dynamic would be completely skewed. I had sworn to myself that I would never be a woman's doormat again. If anyone was going to be doing the fawning, it would be them, for me. So I shook my head firmly. Ms. Vance. No, I can't. Kate didn't get angry. Instead, her eyes glinted with determination. Well, Leo, you've successfully piqued my interest. I stared at her, utterly confused. Was this some kind of cheesy CEO romance novel? Let me be clear. What Kate Vance wants, Kate Vance gets. She looked at me intently. Tell me why not. Say whatever's on your mind. I won't get mad. Is it because I'm older than you? I swore on my life. Absolutely not. Ms. Vance, you may be older, but in my eyes, there isn't a more beautiful woman in the world. That made her happy. Then why not? I don't have any money, I admitted honestly. Oh, is that all? I thought it was something serious. Kate pulled a black credit card from her purse. There's $300,000 on here. Use it for now. When it runs out, I'll transfer more. She placed the card on the desk. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It seemed Kate had misunderstood me. I was just worried that our financial inequality would unbalance our relationship. What kind of person did she think I was? Seriously? I picked up the black card and slipped it into my pocket. Just because you're doing this for me doesn't mean I'm going to be your little simp. Now, put your feet up. It's time for your massage. Kate and I officially started dating. She had a very dominant personality and never cared what anyone thought. She would link her arm through mine in front of everyone as we walked in and out of the office. A lot of people in the company were green with envy. They whispered amongst themselves, trying to figure out what special talent I had to have won the CEO's heart. The theories were wild, but the consensus was that I must have some extraordinary assets. But I never expected that amidst all the envy, the first person to have a complete meltdown would be Khloe. Even though she didn't work at the company and spent her days shopping and partying, the news eventually reached her. One day, she cornered me. Leo, you are a vile, manipulative, shameless, disgusting pig. Khloe, how am I any of those things? She sneered. I can't believe it. When you couldn't get me, you turned around and started sucking up to my mother. What do you have, huh? You're just some loser my mom is keeping. And don't give me that crap about having extraordinary assets. Why don't you show them to me, huh? Let's see what's so special about you. Honestly, I was just going to ignore her, but she was relentless, hurling insults at me. I decided I wasn't going to take it anymore. It was time to fight back. First, I made a show of reaching for my belt buckle. You want to see? I'll give you a real good look. Khloe covered her face with her hands and shrieked, You pervert! But I could see her peeking through her fingers, her eyes wide with curiosity. Well, I couldn't blame her. After 3 years of being her lapdog, she'd never actually seen it. I smirked. Khloe, do you really think that thing I said when you dumped me was just a figure of speech? Khloe looked confused. What? I spelled it out for her, slowly and clearly. I will ruin you. Khloe was furious. She shrieked, Leo, don't think for a second that just because you've hooked up with my mom, you can act all high and mighty with me. You're nothing but a dog. A dog who licked my boots for 3 years. Know your place, loser. The Vance family fortune will all be mine eventually. Don't you dare even think about touching it. I just smiled. I wouldn't be so sure about that, sweetie. You might be getting a little brother soon. What did you say? Khloe froze, her face a mask of horror. I laughed, a triumphant sound of vengeance, and walked away. The truth is, I didn't mean any of what I said to Khloe. I just wanted to piss her off. My relationship with Kate was real. It wasn't about money or any of that other nonsense. I knew that as long as Khloe didn't do anything stupid, the family fortune would be hers someday. But very soon, an incident occurred. An act of her own making. That would cost her everything, leading to her being cast out of the Vance family for good. Aura Beauty was locked in a fierce battle with its biggest rival, Elysian Cosmetics. To win the supply contract for the largest chain of medical aesthetic clinics in the country, Kate had been working around the clock for days. I'd been right there with her, pulling all-nighters, monitoring the development of our new product line. When the product was finally ready, she personally locked the file with the final product specifications in her office safe. I was just about to help her de-stress when Khloe showed up. Khloe, who usually only cared about spending money and having fun, had miraculously decided to visit the office to check on her mother. "Mom, you haven't been home in days. You must be exhausted," Khloe cooed, wrapping her arms around Kate. But I caught it. A fleeting glance from the corner of her eye, aimed directly at the safe. "Khloe, you're growing up. You should start learning to help your mother with the business," Kate said gently, stroking her daughter's hair. I know, Khloe said, but her eyes kept darting back to the safe. Then, she turned to me. "Leo, we're having a mother-daughter moment here. Don't you think you should give us some space? You can go home. I'll stay with my mom tonight." "Khloe," Kate started to protest. I cut her off with a smile. "It's fine. I'm pretty wiped out from the last few days anyway. I'll head out." With that, I left the CEO's office. Downstairs, outside the Aura Beauty building, I lit a cigarette. Even though Kate and I were together, she was still Khloe's mother. If I could help it, I didn't want to be the reason their relationship fell apart. That's why I'd left. Just then, my college roommate and best friend, Dave Miller, called. "Leo, my man, you're at Aura, right? Think you can get me a job there?" Dave had majored in marketing just like me. A company like Aura was a perfect fit. Still, I turned him down. "Dave, it's not that I don't want to help, man, but you should just apply on your own. The company is expanding and they need talent right now. With your skills, you'd get hired, no problem. If I pulled strings for you, it would just start rumors. Why bother with that, you know?" Dave let out a frustrated sigh on the other end. "Bro, I get it. That's why I was trying to get a job at Elysian. Not your place. But you know what? I mentioned your name during the interview at Elysian, just casually, and they shot me down on the spot. That caught my attention." "You mentioned my name?" "Yeah. I've got work experience, so I told the hiring manager over there that I was a classmate of Leo Foster, the assistant to the CEO at Aura. I was just trying to boost my own stock, you know? Same school, you're a CEO's assistant, so I can't be half bad. But they rejected me right then and there. Do you have some kind of beef with those guys?" My suspicion grew. That didn't make any sense. Even though our companies were competitors, just mentioning my name shouldn't get someone rejected. Were they afraid I was planting a spy? The excuse felt thin. What was the interviewer's name? Mark Peterson. He's some kind of manager there. My blood ran cold. Mark was at Elysian Cosmetics. Connecting that to the impending competition between our companies, and then to Khloe's bizarre behavior tonight. A knot of dread formed in my stomach. I really hoped it wasn't what I was thinking. I hung up, flicked my cigarette into the gutter, and using the darkness as cover, slipped back into the Aura Beauty building. The clock on the wall ticked past 11. I sat on the steps of a dark emergency stairwell, my eyes glued to the elevator doors. Sure enough, a few minutes later, the elevator light flashed on. A figure crept out furtively and scurried towards the CEO's office. I recognized her instantly. It was Khloe. She slipped into the office, walked straight to the safe containing the product specs, pulled a key from her pocket, and stole the contents. Then she scurried away, a look of panicked triumph on her face. I emerged from the shadows, a cold smile on my face as I watched her retreat. You reap what you sow. Khloe had been completely brainwashed by Mark, stealing from her own family's company. In that case, don't blame me for not giving you a second chance. This time, I was going to finish you two for good. On the day of the bidding presentation, I arrived at the conference hall with Kate. Not long after, Mark and Khloe walked in. Kate's face lit up when she saw her daughter. "Khloe, you've really grown up. Are you here to support your mother at the bidding?" But Khloe just shot her a cold smile. "You have Leo to keep you company. You don't need me." With that, she sat down right next to Mark. Kate's brow furrowed. "Khloe, What do you mean, sitting over there with Elysian? It means exactly what it looks like. Khloe laughed. Mom, in this bid, Mark's team from Elysian is going to crush Aura. I'm advising you to give up now while you still can. Kate's face turned pale. What are you talking about? Khloe, have you lost your mind? Do you have any idea how much this company has invested in this new product? Do you know what it will mean if we lose this bid? Khloe said casually, you'll probably go bankrupt, but what does that have to do with me? She snuggled up to Mark, a vicious little smile on her face. Mark signed a high-risk, high-reward contract with Elysian. If he wins this contract, he gets a massive commission. I'm not going to be living on the streets, am I? As for you, you can go beg on the streets with Leo. You? Kate was shaking with rage. This was her own daughter. How could she turn on her like this? Don't blame me, Mom. You were going to give the family business to your new baby with Leo anyway. Khloe, even if we had a child, you are still my daughter. Do you really think you'd be left with nothing? At this, Khloe's face darkened. But I want it all. How could some bastard you two produce possibly compete with me for my inheritance? And if I can't have it all, then I'd rather burn it to the ground. Kate was truly broken. Her lips trembled, and for a long moment, she couldn't speak. Finally, her gaze hardened into one of cold resolve. Khloe Vance, what makes you so sure Aura won't win? Khloe flashed her usual, insufferable confidence. Because I'm Khloe Vance, and if I say you won't win, you won't win. At that moment, Mark, who had been silent until now, spoke up with a humorless smile. Ms. Vance, I suggest you withdraw. I have all the performance metrics for Aura's new product. The product Elysian is bidding with today is a full tier above yours in every specification. You've already lost. The words hit Kate like a physical blow. The product specs were top secret. How could they have been leaked? Her eyes shot to Khloe, her voice filled with horrified realization. Khloe, it was you. You came home with me that night, and when I was asleep, you stole the key to my safe. Didn't you? Khloe just snorted. So what if I did? It's too late for you to do anything about it now. I pulled a trembling Kate into my arms. It's okay, I whispered. If the sky falls, I'll be right here underneath you, to break your fall. Kate buried her face in my chest, her body racked with silent sobs. I understood. The betrayal of her own daughter was a devastating blow. You can guard against 1,000 enemies, but you can't guard against a thief in your own house. Ah, look at that, Khloe cooed from the side. Mom, even now, you're still turning to that loser Leo for comfort? What can he do for you? Can he reverse your fate? Ha ha ha. I shot a cold glare at the monstrous girl. Don't be so sure, you little animal. Who are you calling an animal? Khloe shot to her feet, her face contorted with rage. You'd sell out your own mother. If that's not an animal, what is? I shot back coldly. Leo, don't think I don't know what you're up to. You want Aura to win so you can get your hands on my family's money. In your dreams. Khloe shrieked. Mark pulled her back down into her seat. Khloe, why are you arguing with him? Just wait until they're bankrupt. You can mock him all you want then. Khloe shot me one last hateful glare before sitting down. The bidding conference officially began. Mark and Khloe sat there, brimming with confidence, as if their bright future was already within their grasp. Only I knew that this time, the two of them had screwed up, big time. After comparing the specifications and pricing of both products, this company has decided to select. The lead executive from the clinic chain dragged out the words for dramatic effect. Mark was already straightening his tie, a smile on his face as he stood up and began to clap. He was applauding the massive commission he was about to receive. Yes, in his mind he had already won. This company has decided to select Aura Beauty's product. As the executive's voice rang out, the entire room fell silent. Even Kate, who had buried her head in my chest, having given up all hope, looked up in stunned disbelief. Mark, who was in the middle of applauding, froze, his hands stopped, and the smile on his face slowly hardened into a mask of confusion. I'm sorry. I think there's been a mistake, Mark said. The executive just gave him a cold smile. No mistake. We've decided to make Aura Beauty our new partner. He had seen the entire drama unfold earlier, and had already taken a disliking to Mark and Khloe. Besides, who wouldn't be disgusted by a child who would betray her own mother? But distaste alone couldn't dictate a business decision of this magnitude. If they had chosen Aura, it meant our product was genuinely better. No, you've absolutely made a mistake. Mark had lost all his polished composure, and was now shouting. Elysian's product has higher specs. The formula is better. We're not blind. The executive tossed 2 spec sheets onto the table in front of Mark. See for yourself. Mark looked down at the sheets, and his face turned ashen. Khloe, sitting beside him, asked anxiously, "What is it, Mark? What's wrong?" He might have ignored her, but her voice seemed to be the final trigger. He spun around and slapped her hard across the face. "You have the nerve to ask me that? You've ruined me. The spec sheet you stole was a fake. A fake. Do you understand? Aura's real product is even better than what we created. But I took it from the safe with my own hands. How could this happen?" she cried, her voice cracking. "Because the one in the safe was the fake," I said, standing up, my voice cold as ice. "I moved the real one somewhere else long before you got there." Khloe stared at me, her face a canvas of pure despair. Kate, on the other hand, threw her arms around me, tears of relief streaming down her face. "Leo, thank God for you. In the end, Aura Beauty won the contract." Mark, because of the high-risk agreement he'd signed with Elysian, was now facing catastrophic financial penalties. He was on the verge of a breakdown. In his rage, he took all of his frustrations out on Khloe. It was only when she was bruised and beaten that Khloe finally saw that the so-called Harvard elite she'd fallen for was nothing but a violent monster. Khloe ran back to Aura, sobbing, begging for Kate's forgiveness. "Mom, I was wrong." But Kate, looking at the daughter who had tried to destroy her, felt nothing but a cold emptiness in her heart. She was unmoved. Finally, in a state of complete mental collapse, Khloe screamed at Kate, "If you don't forgive me, I'll seduce your man." She turned to me. "Leo, you licked my boots for 3 years, didn't you? Come on, do it again. If you do, I'll let you do anything you want." Then, right there in the office, she started tearing off her clothes, grabbing at my leg, begging me to take her. Looking at the crazed, disheveled girl, I just frowned. She had completely lost her mind. "Security. Get her out of here." 2 guards came and dragged Khloe away. Looking at Kate's grief-stricken face, I comforted her. "Don't worry, we'll get her into the best psychiatric hospital. She'll be taken care of." Kate nodded numbly. I sighed internally. Taken care of? How could she not suffer? To go from being the pampered princess of a corporate empire to an inmate in a mental institution was an incredibly cruel fate. But there was nothing to be done. It was the path she had chosen for herself. After Khloe was admitted, I went to see her once. Her mind was a fractured mess, but the moment she saw me, a spark of crazed energy lit up her eyes. Her personality was completely split. One moment, she was smiling at me. "Leo, you came to see me? You still want me, don't you? Come on, do it. I'm so much better than my mom." A moment later, her voice would turn sharp and vicious. "Leo, you only seduced my mother for the family fortune. You'll never get it. The Vance fortune is all mine. I want all of it. You and Kate can both go to hell. Ha 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 ha." She was gone. Khloe was completely, irrevocably insane. I put on my sunglasses and left without a word. Walking out of the hospital, a feeling of deep, satisfying vengeance washed over me. Thinking back on everything she had done, I muttered a final thought to myself. "Khloe Vance, I told you I'd ruin you." One day, much later, Kate asked me, "Do you remember the day you rear-ended my car?" I laughed. "Still thinking about that repair bill?" Kate smiled. "I was asking if you remember what the bumper sticker said." "Of course. You rear-end it. You marry it." A year later, Kate and I had a child, and the mad woman in the psychiatric hospital was all but forgotten.